This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Oh, yes, we are. Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Greg Gizmo Zord Parker, and you are listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 120, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I am joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multi-Zord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zord Reader. And on this week's episode, you get another shot at BlizzCon tickets, free goodies for Twitch Prime members coming in. We talk the mid-season brawl as well as changes for Phase 2, and we go in-depth on Death himself as we talk Malthael for our Hero of the Week, along with some giveaways post-show. Just make sure and stick around for some games as well. But first, let's see how the other Zords are doing tonight. Multi, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. How are yourself?
I am doing all right.
Three all rights.
Three
Wow.
all rights.
That's pretty all right.
all right. TBK, how about you? How you doing?
I'm doing well. And just as a disclaimer, we're not giving away BlizzCon tickets.
Yes, you almost made it sound like that.
Yeah, what do you...
Sadly, I mean, we're still giving away cool Heroes stuff.
Right.
I mean, BlizzCon tickets would be awesome.
How do you?
but
Maybe
we,
I was
we
gonna
barely got our
sweeten the pot.
hands on that.
Yeah.
Like, Greg, you want to give away your ticket?
No.
I mean, you can.
You could, and then you could just buy another one coming up here. Spoiler
It's
alert.
true.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what have you guys been up to in gaming this week before we get into some of the nitty gritty here? Multi?
Honest, a lot of heroes. And I got to say, so I've got to kind of retract a statement from last week. My gut reaction to Malthael was, and I think I even used the word, which I regret now. I initially hated him. So for one, okay, I don't know if I ever fully, truly hated him. He was just one of my least favorite heroes in some time. And I guess that's still kind of true. Like, he's probably still in my bottom half in terms of, like, favoritism just in general. But I've given him a real shake. So you guys will be proud of me. I actually played some games. I read up on Michael Udall's guide and tried out his build, tried out our build, did a bunch of stuff. And I'm starting to get it now. I mean, I was definitely doing a few things wrong initially. And we can go over all this later, of course. But I'm starting to get it. I still don't love it, but yeah, he's one that I'm going to bank and try to maybe take up even a little bit further past 5, which is good for me for a hero that I, typically it doesn't fit my play style per se, but I kind of want to see where I can go with it. So I'm turning around on him, is what I'm saying.
Okay, very good. Your llama back there's like going over level 9,000 in just a second, so I don't know what's going on there.
Is he flipping out? I see this now in the background. Okay. We will move
No, he's
the
fine.
llama.
No. He's
No,
fine.
he needs to charge up.
Yeah, he's
just
charging.
for our audio listeners only. The picture that Multi has is a llama behind him, and right now it literally looks like he's Super Saiyan charging. I don't know. It's a really cool trick of the light and a fan.
It is a fan.
Oh,
yes.
okay, that's
Yeah.
what that
Yeah.
is. Gotcha.
I can go fix this. Ryan, you go ahead and tell us how your week was. I'll be right back.
Malthael, he's awesome. I love him. He's the best. And the thing is, you almost have to take heroes past 5. I mean, you're kind of incented to take heroes past 5 these days just because you get a free loot box for every one of them, right? I mean, it's just easy loot boxes. And we just had a big drop of content, so you never know. One of those loot boxes may be a Murky Skin, or a Happy Cloud, or an Angry Cloud, or maybe a Sad Cloud. So regardless, I mean, everyone needs more clouds that show emotions in their life.
That's definitely 3 cloud possibilities that you
Yep,
could
that's
get
true.
there. So I myself, I am still as continuing to love Malthael as well. Played a lot of him this last weekend, but I also got into a lot of heroes that I had not played in a long while, thanks to my Friday night stream, letting chat pick who I was playing. I still don't like Probius. That's confirmed. Chromie,
It's okay. No one does.
but Dahaka, man, I hadn't
He's
played Dahaka
fun, isn't
forever.
he?
He is super fun.
He's so good.
So yeah, I'll probably get back in there and play some more Dahaka. Got some more Lily games in. So.
You know, Greg, now that you mention it, I've been playing quite a few I haven't played in a while either, and it's because of the Diablo quest.
Yeah, same here.
We'll see.
Because
I've just been playing
15
a ton of Malthael for.
15 games. Yeah, well, I took a little Malthael break, and I did some Karazim, which I had actually a lot more fun than I thought I was going to. Diablo, super fun. And
Tell
I
me
got
you went
use,
to Iron Fist Karazim.
of course, Iron
Yeah.
Fist Karazim.
So
And the what's the new Diablo skin called? It just left
Primeval
my
Diablo?
brain. Primeval Diablo.
Mhm.
I mean, anytime you get to use that is awesome. Ariel is in an amazing spot right now, so I've been having a ton of fun with her. Lots are really good, and I even played a few Li Ming games and remembered why Li Ming is so much fun
Just the
She's my
resets on
favorite now.
resets.
against unorganized quick match fellows.
Yep. All
It's
right.
fun.
especially if it's the Vikings. Just saying.
Yes.
Resets on resets.
They were gonna try and make me play Vikings, and I refused because
As you should.
Well, and part of the reason I don't want to touch them now is that they're my highest win rate hero. Like from back when I used to play them a ton, I think they're at like 78%, and that's like I think close to 40 games. So that's pretty darn good. I don't want to tarnish
But all
it.
those games were like a year and a half ago.
Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's before they made it to where the abilities were tiered.
Right.
I think did you just start with all of them? I don't even remember. It's been too long. All right.
Weren't they the heroes that you covered on Stormcast like way
Yes.
back then? Yes.
Way, holy cow.
Way back. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the weekly collection update. TBK, what do we got going on there this week?
We actually have some pretty good stuff this week. For heroes, we have Rhaegar and Lieutenant Morales both on sale on Gem Sale, and then we have the Dark. It's probably pre-late, but it looks like pre-latte. It's the Dark pre-latte Zeratul.
If it's pre-late, is it just
Decaf,
is it
of course.
the dark on time Zeratul?
Yeah, like
Because
they're
if
ahead
you're
of being late.
ahead of
Sounds like Chromie's messed with this skin
yeah.
Yeah.
a little bit. Whatever it is, it's one of the it's the purple Master Skin Zeratul variation. Pastel Pajama Party Lost Vikings, the Jade Monkey King Samuro, and this is actually pretty cool, and I may be picking this one up myself. The Fel Furon Uther, which is like the Judgment skin with spikes and Sulfuron, but in a Fel colorization. It looks incredible.
Why does Uther have a Fel Furon skin before Ragnaros has a Fel Furon skin?
It's a good
Good
question.
Solid
Blizz,
question.
please fix.
Yes.
Mount-wise, we have the Felbor, the Star Chariot, and Old Marshall's Outrider, as opposed to middle-aged Marshall's Outrider, I guess.
And it's
Right.
not the old Marshall's hair. It is the Outrider.
Right.
So there's
The
no
Outrider.
confusion this week.
It is an
is an
old tread
actual
horse.
horse.
Though.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
It is old, and it does travel 5% slower. Just fun fact. Fun fact. I'm
Okay.
kidding. It's fine.
All right. Multi, what about the free hero rotation this week? What do we got going there?
Oh, free heroes. So, okay, started off with your boy Dahaka. Try him out if you haven't in a while. Gazlo, Johanna, Kharazim, Lunara, Malfurion, Thrall, Tyrael, Vala, Zul'jin, Rhaegar at 5, Chromie at 10, Tassadar at 15, and everyone's favorite gamer, Diva herself at 20 there. So, I've got to think that for this week and during the Malthael event, probably the most important ones for people getting the most bang out of their buck from these free hero rotations would be the Diablo heroes as well. So we've got Karazim in there. Johanna's still decent. Tyrael, can't really go wrong. And Vala's kind of a standard, right? So a couple options for your friends wanting to get in. Maybe some Diablo crossover people that just want the wings over there. So, yeah.
And those are coming with the Necromancer patch, right? I think those are going
wings?
live with the
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Are they?
because Necromancer comes out next Tuesday?
27th. Yeah. 27th.
Really soon.
Is that next Tuesday?
Snuck up on me.
Yes, next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Which I believe is also the supposed date for Summer Sale. So maybe they were getting a bunch of Blizzard-y stuff next Tuesday.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick because today is the first day of summer. We're recording on.
It is the summer solstice. Yep.
And it doesn't feel like summer until we can play Power Drenched Tychus, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like even though it was 90 something out today, it still doesn't really feel like summer to me. Need those skins.
It's true.
I need them.
All right. Well, we do have some other news and stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and hop into that. All right. So first up, another chance at BlizzCon tickets. They are going to be going on sale Wednesday, July 5th at 7 p.m. The reason? Well, they're going to have another hall available for BlizzCon this year, and they weren't sure if they were going to have that yet. So now that they've locked it down, they figured out what they're going to use it for, and they're selling more tickets. They didn't really say how many tickets necessarily, but you know what? From seeing the construction down there last year, the halls they were working on were pretty darn big. Which
It's pretty
is
decent size.
So I don't know, maybe WoW and Heroes won't share a stage this year. I don't know what that other hall is going to look like.
I would guess. I would say it would be surprising to me if WoW and Heroes shared a stage this year, because multi you may know more accurately than I do. Isn't the Hearthstone Global Championships not going to take place at BlizzCon this year?
That is correct. It's still a major tournament for it. It's like their fall regional for championship, rather. So it helps people qualify for the World Championship, but that's not until, I got to think, either January or February of the next year, 2018.
So my guess
There's
is Hearthstone will be downplayed a bit more
Maybe.
so than it was before.
It might still have its own stage, though, because it has a unique setup.
Yeah,
how
it
they
does.
set up the hearth.
I mean,
and all
it might
that
be in a
stuff.
smaller area.
True.
Potentially than I feel like Heroes is probably big enough at this point, especially after seeing that DreamHack stage. Let's just copy that and bring that over to BlizzCon, because that was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
That would be pretty sweet.
I will say I'm really hoping for a cooler stage this year, because not that the stage has been bad, but it's been the same for the past 3 years since they've been doing stuff there. So, and the HGC stuff, the HGC has looked incredible, and I really want to see that. So
Yeah, I wish we were getting a third day though. It's still very surprising to me that with as much going on, that we still don't have a third day.
Yeah, agreed.
one of these
But we've
days.
got more space now, and thus we can, stretch the fire code a little bit more and get more people in there. So that's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, July 5th, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and BlizzCon is the 3rd and 4th of November, so make sure you try and get some of those if you've missed out on the past 2 opportunities and are still looking to go. We also have an update on Malthael's Bargain here that we talked about, those wings and the mount for Heroes still. This is going till the 26th, so you'll have up until the day before that the Necromancer pack comes out for Diablo. But, that really sweet Zool and Malthael loading screen in Heroes? Well, if you complete the Malthael's Bargain quest, you are automatically entered to win an authentic Lords of Death print. That's the name of that print. By the artist Alex Horley, complete with a signed certificate of authenticity. Authenticity.
That's pretty dang cool.
It is.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Because that
That honestly made me want to complete it more because previously, like, I was kind of on the fence about it. I was like, I mean, I'll probably play that many games, but do I really want to sink in the time with the Diablo heroes? Now I do, just for a shot at this.
Yeah, and
Very cool.
I also want that
I would
Necromancer
frame
skin.
that.
I want the Zool skin in there. It's a cool
Like,
skin.
actually in the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a sweet skin.
So
I can see them doing it. They've got the concept art right there.
there it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that thing is sweet, and I think I got 2 games left, maybe something like that.
It
so-
takes a little longer
It does.
than you would think because
Yeah.
a lot of the other ones have just been like play something with friends. This is play something with friends and then play a very specific set of heroes. And so they're not going to just automatically get done as naturally as some of the previous quest runs have been. You kind of have to think about it a little more to actually get it done.
Unless you just grind it out in AI games, but I don't really feel like doing that. I want to get in there and play some of these heroes, so, you know,
That's,
Yeah, you can do it in AI.
you can.
If it comes up on the wire and you don't have it done, I mean, you get entered for free for the art print. So, and you get a sweet mount, and if you play Diablo, you get a cool set of wings. So, why not?
Yes.
Yeah, and you get an epic loot chest, so, I mean, that's decent.
Just out of curiosity, are either of you planning on hopping back into Diablo to play some Necromancer, or is that
I don't
kinda,
think
you kind of
so.
over it?
I am
Yeah.
not. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm-
it's tempting, but I wasn't like a Necromancer player back in the D2 days, so it doesn't really have
me
the...
either.
I played a lot of the other classes, like Sorceress and Amazon and that sort of thing, and I like Zool and Heroes, but I don't know, it doesn't have the sentimentality for me, so maybe not.
I had a lot of fun with D3 when it came
Yeah.
out. And I played the first few seasons, but I think at this point it's just it's played out for me,
Okay.
and I think I'm ready for a Diablo 4.
I assume you're hopping in, though, Greg?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be hopping in. I played a lot of him in the beta, and I'll definitely be taking him through some seasonal when he drops. All right, so Twitch, the Twitch thing happened. This is some good news. Twitch and Blizzard they signed a 2-year contract for third-party competitions going to be streamed to Twitch, and it's the HGC, what's the Hearthstone HGG.
No, that's the Hearthstone Global Games. If you want to, that's okay, that's a possibility too, but HCT is Hearthstone Championship Tour.
Hearthstone champ. Anyways,
Yeah.
the Blizzard games, the tournaments, the series
Pretty much anything
yeah.
big tournament-wise
Competitive
from Blizzard
is going to be streamed on Twitch now, which is fantastic. This is third party, so that's not going to stop Blizzard from streaming it on their own website and stuff as well. But along with this is some of the Twitch Prime bonuses. If you guys have been a member of Twitch Prime, I don't know why that's hard to say right now. But right now, you get a golden loot box for Overwatch, these are going to work a little differently than most Twitch Prime stuff. Most Twitch Prime stuff is like a specific set of items that you can get or unlock for free for a game. This is going to be like the loot crates, so it's still random, but for the Overwatch crate, you're going to get a guaranteed legendary. I got the young Hanzo, or young Genji. Wasn't too stoked about it, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess you're going to be getting some more possible Overwatch loot crates within like the next month or so. But in August, they're going to be going to Heroes of the Storm and other games. I imagine Heroes of the Storm, I'm interested to see if we're just going to get a loot crate or if we'll get like a Twitch banner and spray.
Yeah, there might be like a skin pack
Special
or a
goodies
mount
in there.
pack. Yeah, because like you said, they have sprays, they have banners now, they have little emotes. We could be getting Twitch emotes. Who knows?
Yeah.
They've technically already done this in Hearthstone. That's how you get the Tyrande skin for the priest class, as being a Twitch Prime member. So it was kind of their maybe testing ground for all this. So I'd also be interested to see what those September rewards for Hearthstone are as well.
Okay.
All I know is there is no mention of Facebook Live
Yes.
anywhere in this, and this makes me happy.
Yep. It's going to be more than 20 Blizzard tournaments will be exclusive to Twitch as far as third party goes. So that is fantastic. They pulled the plug, at least for now, on Facebook Live. All right.
They must have heard some fan feedback on that one.
Yeah.
Or had a falling out with Zuckerberg. I don't know.
Or they didn't hear
I
any
can't
feedback because no one
say-
watched.
No, that too.
Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe the
I
numbers.
can't say
spoke
I'm
for
sad to
themselves.
see that option or that exclusivity go. It doesn't mention Dorm in particular,
Yeah.
so it's possible Dorm could still be somewhere else, which is the main thing we were kind of
Right.
had angry emotions about in the first place. But
Emotions.
emotions.
Yeah.
See,
it's-
like I would be angry Whimsyshire Cloud
yeah.
about Heroes of the Dorm being on Facebook.
You would only pick that mount the entire time.
That's right.
Oh boy. This is what it's going to come to. These
Yep.
cloud mounts.
I'm very
Oh,
excited.
boy. Me too.
Fair enough. All right, and last week we had Core Concepts come out, and it was Team Leveling Part 1. Guess what's this week, guys? It's Team Leveling Part 2. Not Part 3. I
Nice.
didn't skip it. It's just, right in order there. But last week they talked about, what the team leveling was, early game, middle game, late game. This time they're going to talk about soaking, power spikes, alternatives for if you're, behind in levels and you're needing ways to catch up, or alternatives to soaking. So again, if you're just joining us in the Nexus and you're not used to the whole team experience and team leveling, kind of check this out. It's a good little thing to pick up.
Yeah, these have been good little primers.
They are.
It has, for sure. In particular in this
especially
one.
for new players.
Oh yeah, well, there's one tip in here that I think a lot of players can benefit from. In that, considering the alternative section where it's talking about how you play from behind, it seems even to me like, more in quick match than anywhere, of course. But if you're behind a couple levels and you're down 3 and like down a talent tier and stuff, I get a lot of teams who think, well, we haven't been killing enemy heroes very much, so let's try harder to kill them, as opposed to like going back to soak it lanes.
I mean, why would
and-
you soak when you could kill people?
Yeah, right. No, that's just logical. You're right. You're right. If you kill all of them all the time, you win, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love this kind of thing. Everyone should take at least a peek.
I should have taken a peek at it last night. I had a really bad night after work. I was playing Malthael and going up against a Nova.
Ooh, yeah.
And the Nova, each time the Nova killed me, I just wanted to kill. I didn't care about winning the game. I just wanted to kill her more and more. And I got her one time, but it was not my best Malthael game. We'll say that. And we did lose. But if I would have checked out Core Concepts, maybe we would have turned it around. Who knows?
Maybe. It's that
So-
wave clear instead.
Yeah, exactly. All right, TBK. Let's get back to the summer event here that we talked about,
Yes.
and it possibly coming next Tuesday. Still don't have a ton of information on it yet. Everything has been data mined still. So what do we got going there? And I know you got something you want to talk about in connection to this.
Yeah, so apparently the summertime event is going to come out or be activated this next Tuesday, and apparently there is summer loot crates specific, and they will be specific, have these specific summer items in it. We had a huge discussion about this a week or two ago, if you want to go back and listen to that, where we speculated about, is this going to work like Overwatch? Is the stuff only going to be in the summer crates, or is it going to be in the regular crates too, just at a decreased like drop chance? Will it all get locked away when the event ends? All that stuff. And we just don't know. And so I kind of wanted to talk about Heroes 2.0 monetization in general, because right now this may just be me because I've been playing for so long and I got a lot of stuff, but I felt like since this 2.0 changeover, I've actually been less incented to spend money than I was before the changeover. Which seems like it's good for me and bad for Blizzard. And so
it does seem generous on their part. So you're
Yeah.
referring to maybe like the large amount of chests that we
So,
got
yeah,
when
there's-
it rolled over.
we got a lot of initial chests that we could open. You get new loot chests on if you play, you get them on a fairly regular basis. You'll always get a nice cheap influx whenever you get a new hero and start leveling them up, because the first 7-8 levels go by pretty quick. And so it's a chest for each level of those. You get the rares at 5. You get the class specific or the hero specific at 10. Every just straight 25 levels, you get an epic one. Every 25 levels, you get a little gem infusion. And so it seems to me, or what I think confuses me the most about their monetization stuff, is the lack of ability to buy more stuff with gems directly.
The collection updates are very sparse as far as the
the
items.
weekly collection updates. We're talking less than 10 items, which
Per week.
per week. Which, see, especially now that stuff is split out into tints, seems incredibly low. Because right now, from a gem perspective, I can buy gems with real money, and then I can either buy any hero, because heroes are always gems or gold. That's fine, whatever. That's always kind of been like that. You can always buy heroes for money. So I can do that. I can buy a stim pack, which stim packs, I would say now in our post 2.0 world, are worth a lot more than they used to be, just because gold has more value in the re-roll of loot chests than it did before. Plus, you can get heroes with it as well.
And you get the chests faster, yeah.
Yeah, and you get chests faster, exactly. And so stim packs are a pretty decent bargain at this point if you really want to get your content flowing. And then what else can you get? You got 10 items a week. That 10 items, what are the chances that most of those 10 items are going to hit anybody's care list?
Yeah.
I would venture fairly low.
Well,
A very small amount of people per week that those items even affect. You have new bundles that come out with new content or with new heroes. So like this last time, you had a bundle for some of the new skins, but only certain tints of those new skins. Only certain tints of Malthael. The Whimsyshire Clouds, which everyone was super excited about, completely absent from gems at all. Even as a bundle, even a singular, just the higher than normal shard price for the however many weeks until they get knocked down. If they get knocked down. I honestly haven't looked. I honestly don't know if they will get knocked down. I mean, I think historically when stuff comes out, it's higher than normal shard price and then drops down after like the 2 weeks when you go from the 15k gold down to the 10k gold for the hero. But it seems like that is a super missed opportunity for Blizzard to offer those for gems as well as shards, because now you're telling me if I want to get one of those Whimsyshire Clouds and I've got money, but I don't have the shards for it, I need to buy loot chests.
Yep.
Until I get 2,600 shards from said loot chests.
Or the mounts in a drop.
Yeah,
And
or
that is
the mounts in
plan.
the drop.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's how they work it in Hearthstone, Overwatch, all of these others. The goal is to get you to essentially sink a lot into an RNG generator. I know I just said random number generator, but that's beside the point. and then allow you to unlock it there. So I mean, I've done this. I say this from a Hearthstone perspective because I've done it over there a lot. Sometimes you'll get a whole new expansion come out, open up all of your packs, and it ends up just being nothing you really want. but then you've built up enough dust that you can actually craft something you want. So I think they're just applying the same philosophy here. And I mean, I'm with you, but I mean, I do also have to feel for the people who are trying to do all this completely free to play. And for them, I mean, I do feel like, especially the initial rollover of 2.0 was very generous. I mean, that we got a lot of the content based on how far we'd come along. But you're right. I mean, from a business perspective too, if Blizzard could make more money off of us,
that's what seems weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like from a strictly, if I don't have a lot of money or I don't want to spend a lot of money, Heroes of the Storm is the game to play, because this is easily one of the most generous free-to-play games that you can play. Just the massive amount of free stuff it gives you, so many of the skins, the tints, the mounts that were completely out of reach of the free-to-play player before this update are now completely available. Like you can get them, in the mega bundle. Yeah, I mean, you could get them. You could get them randomly now. You can craft them now. I'm talking about this is me from Blizzard's perspective, and this is me from okay, what if I'm the type of person who wants to spend money on content, right? And so Blizzard, the new system for someone, or if I want to spend money on a specific piece of content. And so right now for me, that I love the loot chest system, but at the same time, I would love to see either more stuff offered weekly in the gem sale, or a gem price assigned to every item or something like that. As a person who wants to say, I know I could get a lot more value from loot chests, from buying loot chests or rolling loot chests to get the stuff, but I have a ton of expendable income. I want to get this now. And then just buys everything with gems. That seems to me like it would be a win on Blizzard's side of things, because now they're getting that guaranteed income. Whereas I don't know how many people there are like me, but I'm not the type of person who's just going to buy loot box upon loot box set upon loot box set to get shards or to hope I get a certain item.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's kind of their point, though, is that they want you to essentially, like, if you wanted to buy the entire collection, you would just drop a ridiculous amount of money into the chests, and then eventually, whether or not you unlocked everything from randomizing, you would have enough shards to then just go in and craft everything. Which, if you had a complete collection up to any point, I've got to think there are probably a couple people out there who are getting close, maybe. You know, there's always someone that there's a Kotaku article that comes out where they say, this person owns everything in this game. That guy gets duplicates in shards for literally everything he opens ever. And thus he's so far ahead of the curve that when a new content set comes out, like maybe these summer skins, maybe future character skins, that sort of thing, they'll just be set. They'll have all the shards they need. So
yeah, but that's the whale. That's the highest end of the I'm spending money, not necessarily the I want to spend I can spend 10 or 15 bucks a month on this game to get something I want, but the stuff I want isn't available, and I could buy $10 or $15 worth of chests, but I probably won't get a whole lot of shards out of that necessarily, and there's a decent chance I won't get the one or two things that I want.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so to me, as that type of player, the player who could spend, 10 or 15 bucks a month on a game, and in the past I have done that on Heroes to get a skin pack or a skin bundle or new stuff, that disincentivizes me from spending money on the game, to be completely honest, because I can't say, cool, that's an awesome new Whimsyshire mount they came out with. I want to buy the Cloud bundle for 2,000 gems, or whatever, or even one of them for 800 gems or 1,000 gems or something like that.
Did you buy one of them? Now. Did you not buy one of them with shards?
I had to craft one of them, but they took most of my shards.
Yeah, exactly. So now what? If something else comes out that you want, that you need shards for,
what do I do now?
You're gonna end up spending money, which is exactly what they want.
Or just not getting it.
And this
not spending money.
This is more. I think it's more like on marketing. I don't know how much like the actual Heroes team necessarily has to do with that, because it seems like that's something they're following as far as loot chests for like everything else, where if you want something bad enough, they're thinking people are just going to buy the crates. I do agree that I think I would like to see more items in the weekly collection updates. That way, even if I don't have the choice to buy something specifically, I'm not going to have to. There's a chance that it'll come up instead of me waiting like a year and nothing happens. So
when you're talking thousands of items now, and you're talking 4 or 5 skins and 3 mounts a week in the gem featured collection, that just looks pathetic. And that doesn't give me any hope that the specific skin I want or that specific mount I want is going to come up anytime in the foreseeable future, which is really rough. And it seems to me, and we'll see how this whole summer system works out. And we'll have a lot more, I'm sure, to talk about once the event goes live and we actually see what the rundown of the event info is. But it seems like to me, they're almost trying to do the Overwatch way and get their monetization with the, okay, here's exclusive loot boxes for this certain time. And everyone's just like, oh crap, exclusive loot boxes. And then you just buy a ton of loot boxes to try and get these exclusive items that are only here for a certain amount of weeks. And then they go back into the vault until next year. That is a way to do it. That is a way to do it.
And the reason they're doing it, I mean, they're not trying to do the Overwatch model. They're doing the Overwatch model. And in that sense,
at least we think they are.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't know for sure yet.
Signs point
the rules, but it looks very much like it.
Point is that Overwatch just had its year anniversary and a ton of skins. There was actually a lot of vitriol going on in that community regarding the fact that, again, it diluted the pool so much that in order to get everything, you would have had to spend ridiculous amounts of money and that sort of thing. And we had some of the same issues that we're having here. But then you're right. When those items went into the vault, you kind of had this feels bad moment of, okay, well, I got I missed 5 dances and I didn't get the Lucio skin I wanted that no one else likes but me because it was Jazzy Lucio, guys.
Yeah.
Jazz.
And I don't like it, but I'm afraid this is what it's going to be.
So what they did is, if it works this way, and this is how it works in Overwatch, you'll be the same guy in my position where you'll say to yourself, we're near the end of this event, and oh man, I still haven't got that skin. So maybe if I just throw $5 at it, maybe something will happen. Of course, for me, spoiler alert, nothing happened. I didn't get any of those skins for that event. That is kind of a feels bad moment for me. I mean, I also get the discussion. I also get the discussion of it's cool that it's something that's unique to that event, and you can kind of show that you took part in that down the road, and it's exclusive, and that's kind of cool too.
If you didn't get any.
Yeah, if I didn't get it, I can't show it. You're right. So the answer is, in this scenario, I should have not spent $5. I should have spent $50 or $100 or $1,000.
Yep.
Then I would have had that Jazz skin.
That's what they want to hear.
Not only that, so okay, it's also playing on our psychology. It ties into this whole discussion about slot machines work the same way. You pull the lever and then you hope for a good outcome. That's happening every time you open these loot chests as well. So, or get a drop in Diablo. See, it's all kind of tying in.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I know it's a free to play game, and these type of things are in a lot of ways inevitable because Blizzard's got to make money. Like, at the end of the day, Blizzard is a business. They need to make money, and so they'll do what they need to do to make money. I don't know. I'm hoping that they expand on their ways. Like, I'm really happy that you can create everything with shards. That's great. I love that you can get some stuff with gems. My only real ask here, and just kind of out of the whole thing, I just want them to expand what is available on a weekly basis with gems, and perhaps at least for a certain amount of it, like an exclusive period of a week or 2 or whatever, when big new content drops out, potentially give us a way to get at least a portion of that new content drop in some way with gems as well.
Okay.
Makes sense. if not
that's
right away, like a little bit into the event or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this will all really be an interesting discussion when we see details about the summer event for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
that's-
see how
that's
that
really
is.
gonna point to what's going forward.
But
Yeah.
Because that may be their new monetization method going forward is just, okay, we'll get a little bit of money off these bundles and these weekly sales, and we get some money off of stim packs and stuff, but our big cash infusions or whatever just happen, and we're going to have 10 or 12 of these big event content drops a year or something.
yeah, and there may be, yes, it would be nice to just be able to buy the things you strictly want to buy, but chat has been full of people saying that they are hooked on the Overwatch model. And even though they get angry at it, guess what? They spend the money to try and get those skins. And if that's what people are spending the money on, Blizzard has those statistics. That's probably the way it'll
Yeah.
stay. If they think they
Yeah.
can profit otherwise, it may change. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll
I
just
may
have to
not.
see.
That's the thing. I may not be the average.
Yeah.
I may not be the average spender, because that to me doesn't hold near as much appeal as just getting singular items. But I know for some people, like, loot boxes are everything.
Mhm.
Like that is their preferred way to spend money and get stuff. So it's different things for different people, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's just kind of from my side of things, being in that middle of the road. I don't want to just buy tons and tons of loot boxes, but I'm not a completely free to play player either. It feels like I'm being a little underserved with this new system, which is why I wanted to get it out. But
Yep.
if you got to go at the end of the day, you got to go with what makes you the money. And if the Overwatch, and I'm sure they'll get a lot of feedback, a lot of good stuff from this summer event to see if the Heroes community is in sync with the Overwatch community. But it does seem to really be working well for the Overwatch community.
Yeah.
It does that? It does that?
That it does. And it is better system than the Overwatch community or Overwatch system. So with the rerolls and
In
whatnot.
part because of the rerolls. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
All right.
for sure.
So, as much as I would love to continue to talk about loot crates for the rest of the show, we do have a lot else to talk about. So let's go ahead and get on into the HGC, the MSB, and what we got coming up in Phase 2 here. All right, TBK, what happened this last weekend?
Oh,
I guess
just
it'll be
a
on Monday
few
and Tuesday.
things. Just a few small things. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little awkward having the finals end up being on Monday for most of us here in the States.
Yes.
Smack dab in the middle of a work day.
I watched VODs for literally everything I watched, so made a little difference to me.
And, Heroes does a really good job with VODs. So
They do.
just be aware, guys. If you haven't watched it, you really should. And it hasn't been spoiled for you, you should probably skip this HGC section, because we are going to be talking lots of spoilers in a few seconds. Okay, here we go. I, for one, guys, welcome our new European overlords.
As do I.
For the first time since BlizzCon 2015, if I'm not mistaken, we had no Korean team in the finals of a major international tournament.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's a
And
huge,
these
huge
teams
deal.
earned their way up there too.
Yeah, and not
So-
only just no Korean team, no Western team.
Yeah, that's true.
It is.
Yeah. It's a
Wow.
big deal. Dignitas and Fnatic showed up. Holy crap. Dignitas alone racking up several wins against both the Chinese and the Korean teams. A huge streak against L5, which would have been previously like unheard of. The skill level and how much the European teams, or how much they've grown just over these last 6 months, has been incredible. Like, it's absolutely amazing. We saw kind of hints of this with Fnatic at this last BlizzCon, beating MVP Black, I believe 3-1. And that was a huge deal, even though they eventually lost to what is now L5.
Mhm.
That kind of set the stage for this whole tournament, and Dignitas and Fnatic really just came out swinging. So just kind of as an overall wrap up, it ended up getting down to the finals. It was Dignitas versus Fnatic fighting in the upper bracket. Fnatic ended up winning in an incredible Game 5 play on Sky Temple and knocked Dignitas down to the lower bracket where they faced L5 to see who would basically come out of the losers bracket to play in the finals. And Dignitas and L5 went very heated back and forth games there as well, with Dignitas just coming out on top, and that then moving up to that finals match. And what I think I liked about this time around over the Western Clash, and we can talk a little bit more about the tournament and structure and what you guys thought about that in a second. This time around, we had our group stages, and then we had a 2-tier bracket, so the upper and lower bracket. But this time, unlike the Western Clash, the team that actually stayed in the upper tier the entire time, which in this case was Fnatic, actually got something for it, other than just not having to play a few extra games. And they got an automatic 1-0 lead in the best of 7 series, which I really like. Some people don't. I like that.
Some people.
I like that because you're a lot. It seems a lot less of a big deal to stay in the top bracket if you don't get really anything from it other than not having to play a few extra games.
But that's one fewer chance of getting knocked out, so I'd argue that's a big deal.
Yeah, that
it's the whole second life argument, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not a second life, but you get a small handicap, I guess, basically. In this case, just a small, a little bonus. It's like, good job, you defeated everyone. Here's a 1 in a best of 7, which, coming from the losing bracket, if that team's actually good enough, they should be able to overcome that. I think. Yeah. Because they should have a little bit of a disadvantage because that team beat them already.
Yeah, but they had the disadvantage from, having to play the extra round to get back into the finals too. So, I don't know. I feel like the reason why this one put a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth personally was just that, I mean, it came down to the full 6 games that we saw, and then the bonus point going over Fnatic was essentially what made the difference. So if they didn't have the bonus at all and Fnatic won that final game to bring it to what would have been a 3-3 tie, it's at least possible that Dignitas could have pulled it out in the end. So,
but here, I don't know if there's any system that does it like this. I like the 1 game advantage system whenever that team already beat the team once. So in this situation, because I
agree.
Yeah, because that could feel bad. Otherwise, what if it went to Game 7? I don't remember what the score was of the first series, but say this went to Game 7, for instance. Say Dignitas lost 2-3 in the first one, went down to lower bracket. They come back up, they win 4-3. Okay, well now they just won the midseason brawl with the same record. So in that situation, I like it. However, I would also like to see a system to where if those 2 teams did not face, then there is no advantage. So a team
I could see that.
Started out in the lower bracket, never had a chance to face them, you should get no advantage. You haven't faced this team. So
at least in the final brackets. I mean, obviously they all faced each other at the beginning during the round robin.
Not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what group they were
within the group stages. You're right. So.
So yeah, it could have been they didn't face, period. But yeah, in the final bracket, and I don't know if there's a game that does a system like that, but that is what personally makes sense to me. You beat them once, okay, you get an advantage. You haven't faced each other, it's just a fresh start. Let's do it. And that is actually a topic of discussion that got me blocked by Raynet on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Because it was the Tempo Storm lost because that system wasn't in place with the +1, and he didn't.
Was that last BlizzCon?
Not last BlizzCon. It was the Blizz 2015, I think.
A couple ago. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's really interesting, but I think overall I really like that format for this tournament from an international perspective. And we'll talk about BlizzCon coming up in a second, and it's going to actually have a different system. It's not going to be the same one. But I really like this system because, let's face it, you don't get international competition that often. Like, international tournaments are hard to put together. They're expensive. And so I don't blame Blizzard for trying to get as much content out of it as they can. And so, and for me as a viewer, I really enjoyed it too, because I got to see a ton of really good games in these group stages. And then I got to see a bunch of games in the later stages, because there was an upper and lower bracket and not just single elimination. And not just for the viewer, for the teams. Just think about it from the team perspective. A lot of these smaller regions, or even the major regions, East doesn't get to fight West very often at all.
Right.
These minor regions don't get to play. These minor regions coming through are the top of their region. And some of these minor regions, they're like head and shoulders above the next second place team.
Like Nomia.
And so they don't,
is.
like Nomia. And so they don't have the competition they need in their region. So when they come to these international events, the more games that they're able to play, the better. And that's why some of the tournaments from HGC has been criticized for, and they've actually come out and said in the past, it really sucks for some of these small teams that get beat twice and then they're gone. And that's it. They come to this international competition and they get to play 2 best of 3s and they're done.
Yeah, right.
But this allows them to get experience against just about every team from every other region, plus scrims and any extra time they have to play while they're there. And so these longer, more drawn out ones, yes, while maybe controversial for a whole upper lower bracket, I know there's some people that just would, you lost, you're out. I mean, that's how a lot of normal sports work. It's just, I beat your team, you're out. I mean, it's not an uncommon thing, but for the viewer and especially for the teams, that really helps them to develop as they try themselves against these potentially higher level teams to get more experience.
That's true. And I think I said this a little bit when we were talking about it initially, but I really liked the group stages and the 2-match format there, and like the scoring system tied to it as well. Like I thought that was still a good enough taste of like how those teams matched up against each other without necessarily needing to go to 3 in some cases. And so I thought that was kind of cool. I think that it also just made for like more digestible bites of those different games. Like you could just tune in and see the 2 and be done. So I liked that a lot.
Yeah, it was really nice. So from a tournament perspective, because I feel like we should talk about this. I feel like from a production side, this was easily the best Heroes tournament they've ever put on. It was almost flawless the entire way through. There was almost no stalls. The amount of time between games was kept to a very minimum. There was great analysts. There was great casters. Almost every single game was just a huge show. And there were so many upsets throughout this entire tournament. Like there were some really cool storylines that were made. Seeing the Korean teams go up against each other, the EU teams go up against each other, the NA teams go up against each other, and Roll20 kind of proving that they really are now the #1 team in North America as they beat Tempo Storm again.
Yeah, that was an intense series, by the way.
Oh yeah, and then you had some of just the absolute crazy, ridiculous ones like the Soul Torturers E-Star group phase games, where E-Star pulls out just ridiculous. We saw a Nova, for goodness sake, in HGC. we saw so many heroes, even if they were only picked in 1 or 2 games, for certain pocket pick comps and really cool stuff like that, that maybe another team wasn't exactly ready for. And it just turned out to be some really, really unique games. And I love the All-Star match filler too. That ended up working out really well. Just like you could tell the people who were in the All-Star match were just having such a blast. The reverse draft was hilarious. And the double speed, double damage, Cursed Hollow Sandbox All-Star match was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Never before will you see Nova first ban.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get to watch the All-Star matches, so those are some of the VODs I do want to
Highly
watch
recommend. Go back to the VODs and watch the All-Star matches.
I didn't get to either, but I need to.
Yes, they're insanely fun to watch. Is there anything else? There's the one other thing I really liked was that we had that All-Star filler. We had that between the semis and the finals. One of the really rough things from the Western Clash, and it seemed like they'd learned quite a bit, was that Dignitas had been playing 2 sets straight, and then they went into another set. And they played something like 12 or 14 games straight. Just absolutely ridiculous. Like that had to just be torture for them. And they endured through it and they won, which was crazy. But they wanted to make sure it didn't happen this time.
It's torture on one hand, but also like if you have a good momentum, you can carry that in too.
And that too, right? In some ways, that could almost give the team that's been playing, they're all super warmed up, and the team that has been sitting on top in this bracket is kind of cold as they're coming in. And so I thought it was really nice that they had a best of 3 all-star break in between the semis and the finals for both the teams to get ready to cool off a little bit and prepare. What do you guys think? What it was like I mean, it was the best Heroes I think I've ever watched. Any event period.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be hard to top.
And again, there were a few days I didn't get to watch live, but for most of the stuff, I think there was only one delay. I still think they might be able to get a little bit faster between games going. I like
you're talking about the drafting process.
Yeah, I like the analysis and stuff, but I do think
drafting is just not fast in this game.
Yeah, well, and even
how do we speed that up?
Not even speeding up the drafting, but just getting to the next draft. It seems like sometimes it could be a little faster
after the draft.
Yes,
I will.
So, but
probably speed that up.
Well, they're setting up games and stuff in that time too. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some logistical reason why, but
But yeah, as far as the gameplay and things like that, it was by far the best competition I think we've seen, and I am extremely excited because I was super jealous I wasn't there. I know some, there were some people that listened to the show that were able to watch it live, and I was super jealous. But guess what? I'll get to watch it live here in November again at BlizzCon, so super stoked for that.
Oh, rub it in.
And and it's going to be interesting to see if we can, I'm saying we as in EU. They can claim me. It's all right. Can hang on to it and not let the West
take fanboy at heart.
Yeah, not let the West take the crown back. So,
you mean the East take the crown back?
That's what I meant. Yep.
The West can keep the crown.
The West can keep it.
As long as they can hold on to it.
Yep. Cardinal directions are hard.
They can definitely have it. Yeah, I really liked it. It was really cool. It was very well done. I think this event showed that from just a worldwide hero standpoint, I think this is the closest the skill gap between regions has ever been.
Oh, easily.
Period.
And it's made for some really interesting games. If you go back and look at just the whole bracket and the schedule, I mean, we've seen tournaments where there have been blowouts just left and right. But here, a lot of them are going to the best of 5. We had a lot of even the group stages 1-1s. And so, I mean, it's just been some really interesting play and super high-level play out of really, frankly, most of these. So shout out to the players. Shout out to the casters as well. I know you already mentioned this too, but I mean, just a stellar job across the board. I'd liked seeing some of the new kind of mixes of casters that perhaps we hadn't seen as much previously. And then I don't know, my best example was actually in the grand finals. I think it was game 5. It was Calder and Trixler, right? And there was it was kind of mid to late game. There was a good, seriously, I don't know, 5-minute stretch in which it was always tense and there was always action going on. And these two guys were just spouting off like 2-3 lines at a time. It honestly sounded like they were in a rap battle, like through the whole thing.
Have you
And
been?
It was awesome.
Have you gotten to watch some of the EU casting?
Oh,
They've
some
been
of it, yeah.
messing with that style the last few weeks.
Oh, they've been kind of
Before
practicing
the someone says something, and then just back and forth. It's really impressive.
It sounded cool. But anyway, they sustained it for seriously like 5 minutes of nonstop action. And the game was intense too. So like the whole time you're just locked in. So I don't know. That is cool. I liked it.
Okay.
And it worked out well. I thought it was really appropriate for them just because it was both the EU teams. And so I thought them casting the finals
For the
was,
EU.
Yeah, it was
That
for
made
the
sense.
EU was pretty appropriate. Okay, so that was awesome. Go check out VODs if you haven't. They're completely worth watching, even knowing who wins. We also got some upcoming Phase 2 changes they announced right after the midseason brawl. So this is a pretty big one. Blizzard is upping the number of major region teams going to BlizzCon from 2 to 3. So instead of 12, the biggest international tournament of the year is now bigger, and it's going to have 16 teams competing, which is awesome. So because of this, Heroes fans will see a 4-day opening week before the HGC finals, including 4 groups of 4, with the top 2 moving on to a single elimination. So 8 teams, single elimination, best of 5 all the way through. And that's going to be BlizzCon.
Interesting.
Gonna be cool.
So yeah, so we got our double elimination bracket this time around. So BlizzCon will try the single name, and that's honestly for BlizzCon
like that
that's
they're
probably
experimenting.
better because there are so many esports going on at BlizzCon
Right.
have
that
to,
it's
almost.
yeah
You
it
can't afford that many games.
yeah it's bound to go late anyways. So
Yeah.
it's good.
They're also restructuring the regional restrictions for Phase 2. So currently, if you wanted to compete in HGC, you have to reside in your respective region for at least 6 months. Blizzard is completely erasing that going into Phase 2. Players from a minor region can now move to a major region and vice versa. If they choose to move from a major to a minor region, they must live there for 6 months before they're allowed to compete.
Okay.
But the other way around, which was the big deal for most teams, is gone now. And so Milkfat, and he's the kind of the head of the HGC on the Blizzard end, was saying one of the things we're starting to realize is that 6 months is blocking off talent from regions we don't want. It's unrealistic for us to expect a team from like Latin America to move to North America, live there for 6 months, and then go through the open division, because that would
Right.
mean a whole year, and if they even actually make it. So
Unless they just
that's-
want to move to the States for fun.
I mean, yeah.
That's up to you. That's up to
Sure.
you.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
This one is actually really nice too, and is kind of probably a result of some of the things that happened in this last roster apocalypse type thing for some of the regions. So the Blizzard is attempting to alleviate some of the issues with roster changes. So now there will be a release period structured as release acquisition approval. After HGC finals, teams will be in a 10-day release period where rosters are required to release any players they wish. Before they can pick up any new players, they have to publicly announce the previous releases. So currently, players, there was just a release period. So from this time to this time. So if a team decided to release a player 2 days before the release window is over, that player kind of would just get screwed because they wouldn't have any time to try out for another team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It had an open slot. And so that's just super feels bad, and that's not good when salary is on the line either. So now they're actually going to have a release window. So from November 6th to the 13th, that's the time that teams have to release any players. And then from November 14th to the 21st, that is their time to acquire new players. And then from the 22nd and 23rd, that's the Blizzard approvals process. So
And
now,
then my birthday is November 24th, so just everyone get a cake that day too.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe you'll get picked up by a team.
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah.
On the
Give you a
24th.
reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
But this is really good. This is going to help stability, and this is going to be good for the players because they won't just get released at the end of a period and just like, well, you're screwed. Like all the slots had already been filled. Can't try out for any more teams now. Now everyone who's going to get released is going to know it. And then all the teams who are wanting to acquire new players will know exactly who was released, plus, of course, any open division people or any new talent that they might want to acquire.
Yep.
So that's good.
Makes sense.
Let's see. There's going to be some new rules for tiebreakers, where they're just going to tiebreakers are now going to be decided as a win percentage, so that every match matters more. Just throughout the league play, if there's a tie for some reason, and then there's going to be some big changes to the open division because there was a lot of controversy surrounding that as open division playoffs ran to like 4 a.m. one time. That was not good to have. So now open division playoffs are going to be an 8-team double elimination over 3 days instead of 16 single elimination over 2, I think it was.
Yep, and a specific quote saying no more playing at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Yes.
Which is the important thing there.
Yeah, that is definitely the important thing. So they think double elimination with 8 teams over 3 days is the fairest thing to do, and they're also going to be readjusting the point system as an incentive for teams to stick together as well. So hopefully I think that's going to be a big boon to the open division as well.
For sure. One thing I want to mention here that I think is important, worth talking about, is the changes Korea is going to be seeing. We had Nacho Jin. His match, he is done with Heroes of the Storm, along with who is the other L5 player? I was trying to find it, but I can't. And I knew I was going to forget it.
It was Nacho Jin and you mean the E-Star player?
No. Oh, I can't.
Noblesse.
Noblesse. Yeah.
Noblesse is leaving and Nacho Jin is leaving.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing this here too.
And then Meriday is leaving from MVP Black.
Correct.
But Rich is coming back. Ooh.
But that's going to be very interesting because obviously L5 was kind of the powerhouse since last year's BlizzCon up until the mid-season brawl, and so hopefully, we'll see some other teams rise up. This isn't because they lost mid-season brawl. These announcements happened before this tournament even started, so it's not like Korea's like, oh well, we lost, we're done. That's not what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is good because obviously, as much as having Korea be on top when it comes to a lot of competitive esports, it can be frustrating. It's kind of neat to have that to go after. And even though we won, have the fear of like, how the heck did we, and by we I mean the rest of the world, manage to take this from Korea? And how are we going to keep them from getting it back the next time we face up? So wish those guys the best in whatever they're going to. I don't know if they're going to another esport, but it'll be interesting what we see from the east side come BlizzCon. So
yeah, completely agree. And then finally, HGC Season 2 or Phase 2 kicks off this weekend.
What? No break.
We
break?
thought there was going to be a bye, but there's not going to be a bye, which was really surprising to me. But Friday,
cool
June 23rd, starting at 4 p.m. Central, No Tomorrow faces off against Superstars, and of course, the EU side starts before that, 11 a.m. Central. Tricked Esports is going to be fighting Team Expert, and then playing Ducks against Zealots, one of the new EU teams in HGC to come from the Open Division. And interestingly enough, they will be playing on the mid-season Brawl patch this weekend.
Okay.
Which does make a lot of sense.
Easy
transition, and all the teams that are getting back from Sweden will have had no time to practice on any newer patch. So makes a lot of sense. And my honest guess is we're probably going to get a balance patch sometime next week.
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps even this Thursday, potentially. But for sure, I would assume by next week. And I would assume that's probably the one they'll want to start playing off of.
Just to start out even, start the second phase on even footing.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe
makes
a
sense.
hero tease this week or next week. Who knows?
Could happen.
I would like it. I mean, we're just about to that point, right?
Yeah.
This is Malthael's second week, and we have no idea. Chat was mentioning a shadow priest, healing priest multi-class, and I wrote an article saying, a little bit ago saying
Maybe
that'd
that's
be
where these
pretty
rumors
cool.
are coming from.
And then I wrote a concept for it as well. So I don't know. Give me my Space Goat multi-class priest.
It could happen.
Yep.
Could happen.
And it would
Of
not-
course, if they
not
took
a
your
lot
idea
of stuff.
exactly, it takes them 9 months to actually produce these. So
Yeah.
I know,
9
right?
months from now, but
So
Yeah.
this is just more like how good of a guesser am I? More than anything.
All right. We got any last things to talk on HGC before we get into Malthael here? Are we ready to go? I think
I'm ready.
let's get into it.
Hero of the Week.
All right. So for this week's Hero of the Week, we've been playing the crap out of Malthael, especially Multi because he loves them, this past week. And, well, we came up with a build here that we think is a good starter for if you guys are wanting to check them out. Haven't played them yet or have been having trouble. You know, Mike Udall had an article up. And honestly, our build is kind of along the same lines. There's a few different talent choices there, and there are some situational stuff. But overall, Malthael's playstyle is pretty darn different. I know we talked last week. He takes a few games to get used to, but he's much more aggressive than people initially would have thought.
He plays like Butcher
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
in
way
a
to
lot
do
of
it.
ways. He's very much an all in. You're going in and you're staying in, type thing. Like
Or
and,
you do it,
and
good
you
job of
leave
harassing
when
the
everyone
front
is dead or you're dead.
Yep, pretty much.
Type thing. Yeah. I do want to point out too, because I did mention balance patch, and of course we don't know anything about what that might entail. We know one is coming, of course, because they always come. Malthael is the highest win rate here on Hot Slogs.
He's
Right
passed.
now.
He's officially passed up Samara.
Yeah, he is. You made me doubt myself, but I'm double. He is officially number one.
Okay.
56.2%.
I don't get it.
Interestingly enough, though, it is a very subset of talents
Mhm.
that have this, that are leading to this high percentage win rate. There's a few situational tiers, but there's a few tiers where one talent is vastly overshadowing the rest of the talents on that tier.
So is that what this build is based on, or
Yes, that is
okay.
what this build is based on. Because this is like maximum value Malthael,
Mhm.
and you still have to play him correctly.
Sure.
But at the same time, it is a very powerful build, and the talent numbers and the win percentage from the talent numbers seem to back it up, and just the overall 56.2% win percentage, highest win rate hero in the game, also backs that up.
Yeah.
He's very strong right now. He's incredibly strong right now because of the percentage-based damage and because of some of the stuff you can do, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I just wanted to throw the disclaimer out because I would not be at all surprised if some of the other talents at these tiers get brought up, or most more likely from what we've seen, the offending talents will get knocked down. So we'll see.
Yeah, and
possible.
this build, and this is kind of the Memento Mori build. is what's going to be ideal in drafting situations. Quick match, it can still be good, but there are some other stuff you can do in there. But this is just an overall good build, no matter what you're going up against, with some situational talents, which we'll kind of talk about some options. But let's go ahead and get into it. Just a real quick recap on his kind of trait and abilities here. The trait is Reaper's Mark, and this is after attacking any non-structure. They'll be marked with Reaper's Mark for 4 seconds, and they are revealed, take damage equal to 2.5% of their maximum health every 1 second for 4 seconds. Q is Soul Rip. You extract the souls of nearby enemies affected by Reaper's Mark, dealing 100 damage and healing Malthael for 44% per target hit, or 44, not 44%. That'd be sweet. Heroic targets heal Malthael for an additional 3% of the hero's maximum health. That's a 2-second cooldown. Race Strike, 30 mana, 5-second cooldown. Instantly teleport through an enemy afflicted by Reaper's Mark, dealing 59 damage and refreshing Reaper's Mark. One of the coolest abilities in the game. Like, body block, God mode, and it's super fun. Novas and Li Ming's Valas don't stand a chance if you can time this thing right.
Unless they just all turn and focus and kill you. Anyway.
Well, they don't know how to do that yet. E is Death Shroud, 50 mana, 8-second cooldown. After 0.25 seconds, unleash a wave of dark mist that applies Reaper's Mark to all enemies hit. And then, of course, his heroic abilities, we got Tormented Souls, which is 100 mana, 80-second cooldown, gain 20 armor, unleash a torrent of souls, continually applying Reaper's Mark to nearby enemies for 4 seconds, and Last Rites, 100 mana, 75-second cooldown, apply a death sentence to an enemy hero that after 2 seconds deals damage equal to 50% of their missing health. Enemies killed while under the effect of Last Rites permanently reduces cooldown by 5 seconds to a minimum of 15 seconds. And that is after 12 stacks, you'll get down to there. So let's go ahead and get into the build here. TBK level 1. What are we going to be going with?
So level 1, your main talent here is going to be Death's Reach. This increases your Wraith Strike's range by 35%. This allows you, especially, I can't really talk about this without kind of touching on his E, which is Death Shroud.
Yeah.
Death Shroud is your bread and butter for anything non-melee.
Yep.
Get good at landing Death Shroud. Because if you can land good Death Shrouds, it is an 8-second cooldown. So if you're up against a range and miss this, that's probably the one time you can you can feel a little helpless as Malthael is against any sort of range that can kite you. If you get a Death Shroud on him though, then it becomes a whole different story, because then you can do your fun little Wraith Strike stuff. Death's Reach just allows you, once you've applied that mark, to chase down better, to get the back line, because it doesn't have that big of a base range. I mean, it's nice, but it's not anything to write home about. But this really helps out a lot. Every once in a while, I will take Fear the Reaper, which is your activatable. I think it's like a 20-25 second cooldown. You activate to increase your movement speed by 25% and pass through other units for 4 seconds. This is really cool because it allows you to be unbody blockable pretty much. It also can actually give you your one potential back away tool.
Yeah, you escape.
Because
unless you land the shroud on something behind you and then jump to it.
It's very hard to. You don't have a generally available thing behind you to Wraith Strike to on the norm, especially in a team fight out of lane. But a lot of times, I mean, it's going to be Death's Reach. It's just very powerful.
Yeah, the Death's Reach, I go 100% of the time if they have heroes like Li Ming, Vala, Nova, things like that, because it does make it almost impossible for them to get away. I will, on situations, I will kind of say this tier is somewhat situational, because if they don't have people with a ton of escape, you don't necessarily have to have Death's Reach on a Pale Horse. I love for certain maps like Warhead Junction, Sky Temple, that's an extra 20% movement speed while mounted. So great for even Brax's Holdout, which is a smaller map, but rotation's important. And then like TBK said, Fear the Reaper, good for those body blocking teams. Illidan's, Artanis, Butcher, things like that. So
Yeah, it's a shame that On a Pale Horse is probably technically the third strongest one of these three, but because I do like it so much as well. Actually, the first game I played
it's a cool
was
thing.
Warhead. So yeah, it's just a super cool option. And then it also, like, I don't know, it kind of brought in the fantasy of the people in the lanes never quite knew when death would be lurking in the bushes. So like it
is
cool.
what I
Okay.
used a lot when I first started playing with him.
Yeah.
On big maps, just because it does make a big difference for rotations. But then I just found overall Death's Reach ended up being more useful for me while I was fighting.
Yep, you're cutting out damage potential for movement between lanes, and so it's kind of awkward.
Yep. All right. Multi level 4.
Level 4, we are going with Black Harvest. So this is a quest talent. The quest is to apply Reaper's Mark to heroes for a total of 150 seconds. And then the reward at the end is permanently increase Reaper's Mark duration by 2 seconds. So this is also, I mean, in addition to having a huge reward at the end, which will stack with future talents, as we'll discuss, it's kind of cool in that you're also playing a sort of mini game within the game. That's true for most quest talents, of course, but in this one, I found that because honestly, I hadn't taken this one the first few games, and what started to make me turn the corner on Malthael was honestly this quest, because I started to realize that, okay, if I'm in a lane and I'm against a ranged character that's, harassing me a bunch and kiting me around and stuff, I mean, I kind of feel countered, and I still do feel that way with Malthael sometimes. I feel like there's some trades that you do that just aren't favorable, or situations in which, like, you just don't feel safe stepping up, so you just kind of hang back and do nothing sometimes. So, but with this, and by even just throwing out your E, throwing out the Death Shroud, you can get some value out of even that. So I had a game actually just tonight where it worked out that I was solo laning down bot, and there were 2 people on the enemy team. Probably should have rotated someone else in there, but whatever, it was quick match. And so I found that, like, I was playing kind of a mini game with myself to line them up in the Death Shrouds to start stacking this quest, because I didn't want to step to them necessarily. And then when the wave pushed to my towers, I would just, step up and kill it like he can pretty well. So, and in that way, so I don't know. And once I completed it, I felt a difference, certainly with, level 16, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But,
There's
it's cool.
And not only that, this talent has incredible synergy with multiple other talents that
Right.
we're going to talk about. And this is one of the potential problem talents, because this is like the 82% pick rate talent.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've got an 82% pick rate talent, then something's probably wrong with that tier.
It's just it's too strong with the main talent of this build, which we'll get to. I do see. So there is another quest talent for his E that is a darn good talent. If you hit 20 heroes with Death Shroud, it increases the range by 33% and reduces cooldown by 2 seconds. Great talent. Not for this build. And
Right.
you guys will see.
Well,
it can be okay, but like for the powerhouse that is going to happen here later, in some situations, it's going to be good. And that's what I used to go. But
Me too.
the damage potential is limited a little bit. You can pull it off.
I think the only time I would really consider throwing shade is if I was up against an extremely kitey range heavy team, because the whole playstyle of Malthael is not a poke playstyle.
No.
It's not. It is a all-in, go crazy and murder people playstyle. And that's how you're going to get them. You're not going to get a lot out of Malthael from just, he doesn't poke well.
Yeah.
He doesn't siege. He doesn't poke well. He excels at murdering and melting faces.
Yeah, even so, if you're using throwing shade to counter like ranged people that are trying to kite you, you still have to, because when you get the extra range, because I've tried it a bunch as well, you still have to, because Death Shroud moves so slowly, like really think through, okay, where exactly is this going to hit, that sort of thing. If they're looking for a way to buff this and maybe have it start at least to compete with Black Harvest some, maybe they could increase so the quest reward is not only range but speed and the reduction in cooldown.
Yeah.
Because then you are really trying to catch that false dead.
Agreed.
Just a thought.
Yep.
All right, level 7 here. This is kind of going to be a situational one. I tend to go between a couple different ones. I go either Cold Hand, which Soul Rip slows enemies by 20% by 2.5 seconds, or Mortality. When damaging a hero, Race Strike deals bonus damage equal to 4% of the hero's maximum health. So fantastic for really beefy teams. And then Touch of Death as well, also good one. Activate to reduce healing received by heroes affected by Reaper's Mark by 50% for 4 seconds. It's going to be an okay talent right now. It's going to be a pretty insane talent in 3 levels. So it's just going against the, whatever you're going against. You got 3 nice choices there. You got beefy, people you want to lock down that already maybe don't have a lot of healing necessarily, or if you're having trouble getting through the kills because of their healing, because you don't have burst damage.
Yeah, Touch of Death can be really fun. I had a game where I actually got it off on a Stitches who died right before Palm went off, and then the Palm went off and it was nothing. Like an eighth, maybe less of his health when he came back with the Palm, and it was so fun. We just burned him down anyway.
And we talked about this last week, like how strong healing is in Heroes of the Storm.
Right.
There are not a lot of Mortal Strike effects, and Mortal Strike effects are basically healing reduction. It's a WoW term, or it came from WoW.
Right.
But there's not a lot of Mortal Strike anti-healing type effects in the game, especially not as low as level 7. Which is
or an
pretty
activatable that's easy to get off.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
Zool has his, but you have to land your Q.
And it's a level 20.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is potentially a team-wide 50% healing reduction for 4 seconds. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But you have to, like, as a healer, this is just like a kick in the balls to you. This is absolutely huge during a team fight. If as Malthael, you get in the team fight, you throw some shade. Well, okay, I just love the name of that talent. You throw a Death Shroud.
Throw shade.
It's just such a great talent name, though. It really is.
It really is. I was gonna make a joke about how I was throwing shade at Malthael last week, but I spared you guys that. But I just kind of told
I'm glad
you
you
anyway.
brought it up. But yeah, I mean, you get in there, you throw a Death Shroud, you hit 1 or 2 people. Now all of a sudden, boom, 3 or 4 people, negative 50% healing. That sucks as a healer.
Rip Lucio.
Yeah. So, I mean, people underestimate how incredibly strong these healing reduction Mortal Strike effects are.
Yeah.
So, I've almost started taking it every game. I mean, except in quick matches where there's no healer, because then it's worthless. But
Just a waste, yeah.
like draft games and stuff, incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I dig it.
DBK level 10 ultimate. What are we going here? And I will
This is
say
for
I'm
me?
glad I predicted this. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So level 10, we are going with Tormented Souls. So yeah, and I kind of felt this as well as soon as I tried it out. This is, of course, the one where you gain 20 armor and unleash a torrent of souls, continually applying Reaper's Mark to nearby enemies for 4 seconds. So, I mean, the awkward thing about it, kind of, at least, is that, I mean, some of your abilities, like Death Shroud and your auto attacks and such, apply the Reaper's Mark anyway. So it's like, if you get a good Shroud off, and then you just jump in and do Tormented Souls right away, I don't think like you're getting the full value out of it. But to pop it midway through, so to get in there, what I've experimented with is get the good E off, get in, kind of dance around, maybe auto attack a couple people, get some Qs off, and then activate it. Because by this point, you may be a little bit deeper in the line that can turn and try to burn you, and the 20 armor helps you prevent that.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, if you're applying the mark to everything around you, especially if you're standing in a minion wave and in a group of heroes, that Q is going off of every target that you hit, and you get a lot of healing back from it on top of the armor, and you kind of become like you end up getting kind of a Kerrigan feel from this one.
Yeah.
The same sense in that you get this giant field around you that's helping you do damage and help give you survivability as well. So yeah, I'm sold on Tormented Souls.
It is. And the ideal situation for this is going to be like double tank or at least 3 melee. There are other situations where I'll still take this, but there are situations where I will go over and pick Last Rites if they're ranged heavy or they've got like a super slippery range, like Zeratul, Tracer. Actually, does Tracer's Rewind take Last Rites off?
That's a good question.
I know I've killed. I know
I would
killed.
assume yes.
So would I, but I have killed Tracer several times with this. So maybe it's just bronze Wood League Tracer or something. I don't know. But
Well, the thing about Last
Zeratul-
Rites, though, go ahead.
I was just like Zeratul, Nova, anyone who you can get in and put this thing on, it's great for squishies that you just don't want to get away, don't have to worry about. And it's, for the repeatable quests, you're going to need 12 stacks to get down to the 15-second cooldown. That's not a quest you need to worry about completing. It is, I think the most I've gotten is 9. And that was a fairly long game. And it's still, a short enough cooldown. So,
Okay.
Fair point.
So here's my problem with Last Rites. And it from a talent perspective, it is hugely underperforming compared to Tormented Souls. And this is another one of those 80% to 20% pick rate type talents.
Yeah.
Last Rites is really cool. It is way cooler from a coolness factor, so much cooler than Tormented Souls is. It
Easy.
really is. It is super counterable as well. Your target has to be fairly low to actually get the killing blow with
33% repeating, of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. They have to be pretty low to get the kill off of this. It's a very long cooldown if you don't actually get the kill. And if you don't get the kill, you just put yourself back on the quest again. If you wanted to fully stack the quest, you would have to perfectly use it every single time, and it would take you still like 8 or 9 minutes to get done. And so this feels like a quest that you will almost never ever finish, which is kind of interesting. And like I said, it's preventable. You can see it coming. You've got shields, you've got heals. They can keep you from it. And I think it's the worst offender of Last Rites to me is its freaking pathetic range. It has absolutely pathetic range. I cannot tell you how many frustrating times I've not been able to get a Last Rites off on somebody because they were just out of range. It is so frustrating.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I'd rather just go Tormented Souls.
Yeah, no, I got you there. That's kind of what we're getting at with this whole discussion. The other thing that's awkward about it as well is that, as you'd mentioned, Gizmo, you can certainly use it as part of a combo to burn down squishies like that, but you're technically getting less value from it than if you actually burned a tank with it, because a full health stacked Stitches going from 33 to dead is just that much more HP that you've removed from the field. So, like, I don't know, you to get the most out of it, I would think you'd want to technically burn tanks, but
you can
it's just awkward.
in team fights and stuff. You like tanks generally aren't an issue because you're getting sustain off them. You're slowly burning them down, and
Right.
body blocks. It's in my experience has been good for those characters that you damage, they get scared and try to back out, so
They just
you don't
finish
let
them
them.
off,
Yeah,
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Zeratul, the Nova.
I just think in its current state, there's very, very few uses that or very few situations that I would pick Last Rites over Tormented Souls, especially with this build.
Fair point. And I mean, he is good enough against tanks
Yeah.
anyway, just with the percent damage, which, by the way, you guys saw the Carbot, right?
Yes, there is a new Malthael Carbot
I
out
have
there.
not seen it yet.
Everybody,
Oh.
just hit pause. Go watch that now. We'll wait for you. And you can come back, and then we can talk about more Malthael. It's amazing,
It's so good.
as all Carbots are.
And also, to confirm, Recall does remove Last Rites. That is.
There you go.
It's
So
from
more
Matt.
ways to counter it.
So thank you, Matt, for clarifying that. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to level 13 here, TBK. What are we doing here?
So this one is another one of our slightly more situational tiers. I really like. There's two mainly, but there's really just one that I will normally go, especially this build. Ethereal Existence. You gain 15 physical armor per enemy hero afflicted by Reaper's Mark, up to a maximum of 45. So all you need is three heroes afflicted by Reaper's Mark.
Right.
Which, between your Death Shroud, your Black Harvest going, which hopefully by you're getting close-ish to completing by this point, and Tormented Souls going off, you've got a pretty reliable 45 physical armor, which makes you that much harder to kill as you're just doing normal Malthael, Reaper, melting face things.
And this is stacking with your 20 armor from Tormented Souls, yes?
Now,
So-
and remember, Tormented Souls armor is all armor.
Right.
So
Both
that's
sources.
physical and spell, whereas this is only physical. But yes, it would technically stack with your Tormented Soul armor because the full armor cap is 75. So it's a very strong talent, and you get the benefits of it just by doing what you're supposed to be doing, spreading your Reaper's Mark and killing people. In a heavy, I can't recommend Inevitable End.
No.
I can't in
Or
one
Soul
situation.
Siphon.
Because you have to lose all your Reaper's Marks
There is
to activate it.
only one situation I'll ever
Okay,
recommend that.
tell me the
It's
situation.
versus a butcher. Because
Maybe.
butcher you can take for a while, and then there's a point where no longer, if he charges you, you're dead as Malthael. And I would just say don't play Malthael into butcher, perhaps.
Well, right.
But if you do for some reason, this is a way that when he charges you to not have to worry about it as much.
Okay, maybe. But that would only be if you were fighting him one-on-one.
Yes.
If you're fighting in a team fight, you would never ever want to remove all your active Reaper's Marks. That literally brings you down to one button. Like it just seems like a terrible idea.
And that is your very slow cloud of death.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Shroud of Wisdom. Shroud of Wisdom is really interesting. You might take it versus a heavy mage lineup, but it requires a lot of forethought on your part, pre-science, maybe.
A little bit of pre-science.
A little bit of pre-science. After 2 seconds, you gain 50 spell armor for 4 seconds. So you have to kind of know that you're going to need spell armor in the next 6 seconds. It
is a lot of spell
little-
armor for that, so it's a
little
reward
awkward.
for you if you time
Yeah.
it. You could at least know when you're going in, but then, I mean, yeah, it just comes down to, are you going to just jump into a Blizzard and Leeming's Arcane Orb? Probably not, even with this, so
Well,
it's a little awkward, you're right.
I can actually think of a situation for this as well. Hard counter to Malthael, Jaina. A patient Jaina. Because if she knows how you're going to play, she knows to wait for when you warp through somebody. She's going to put a blizzard right on top of you, and it's going to blow you the heck up. So, Shroud of Wisdom, Jaina's there. She's been kicking your butt. You pop this thing before you go through to finish off whoever it is you're trying to kill. And that's going to keep that blizzard from blowing you up. You'll be able to secure the kill and then either get out of there or get on the Jaina.
Unless she's a really patient Jaina and also waits the 4 seconds of spell armor before dropping the blizzard.
Well, at that point, like you
Just-
have a chance to get out, like
Just
get
know,
out of
guys.
it. It
So
is
the last two talents we've talked about, we've devolved into literally
one hero
super
each.
specific
Superhero. Hey,
situations.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
talking from experience. I've played a lot of Malthael this last week, and Butcher and Jaina have been jerks. All right.
I believe it. But the
ethereal,
armor, though.
ethereal existence is
Yeah.
is a great on the norm.
Yeah, if I saw one auto attacker of any kind on the enemy team, except maybe your Butcher scenario, I would choose Ethereal Existence.
Mhm.
And everyone auto attacks. It's a matter of how hard.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Level 16. This is the build right here. Memento Mori. Reaper's Mark deals 100% increased damage after afflicting an enemy for more than 4 seconds. So this is where Black Harvest comes in, because now at this point, Reaper's Mark is lasting 6 seconds. So you're guaranteed when it's applied to at least get some damage out of this. Tormented
2 seconds
Souls, 6 seconds. So then you can initiate a fight with your Shroud. You mark targets for 6 seconds. That's 2 seconds of the 100% bonus damage. Then you warp in and do Tormented Souls. That is going to be another 6 seconds minimum of the 100% damage, plus your sustained healing. And then on top of whoever is left, you chasing around with your W and your auto attacks.
What are you talking about? No one's left after that.
Correct. The boss, if you're doing a boss, they're left, or a camp. Malthael's a pretty darn good camper.
He's a great merker.
He is,
Yeah.
He
especially at
becomes
this
amazing
marker.
at 16 too.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Exactly. So it's a nice little, you can tell when it's happening. The Reaper's Mark is a little bluish, blackish flame there. After the 4 seconds, it starts glowing and pulsating.
Well, you see the crit damage roll in too.
Yeah.
So
And it rolls in.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It is incredibly strong.
Mhm.
It is incredibly strong. It's specifically for this build. It's this build's bread and butter. This is a good build, but this makes it a ridiculous build from a damage to everybody, face melting, death.
Death. Yeah, that's the deal. And so on top of the 2 seconds of free value you get for it, you then kind of, again, start playing a new little mini game at 16 where you're really going out of your way to reapply it. I found myself in some group fights, maybe getting my Shroud off, hanging back a little. This is maybe at the beginning before I dive in, right? And then, I had a Tyrael I was up against, so I just kind of go up and just swat him once, then back up a little bit, come back, and I'm just reapplying it. And so then, this is for as long as it's past that 4 second mark. So you could do it indefinitely. That's why he's so good against bosses at 16 and that sort of thing. So, you kind of get this whole new thing where you're trying to reapply them and then find that exact right moment to Wraith Strike in.
I don't know why this is just happening to me, but I can almost feel like I know what the Carbot animation video is. I can picture what it is
Oh, yeah?
before I'm even watching this.
Probably what you think. Yes.
So I'm excited to watch that now. But yeah, Memento Mori is if you go Black Harvest at 4, you're going Memento Mori at 16. If you don't, then something went wrong. I don't know. I will say,
Massacre.
yeah, Massacre is fun on needing some wave clear. But if you went Tormented Souls, then Massacre is a wasted talent.
Unless you're doing it as part of Wave Clear, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you're doing it just as part of wave clear, then that's a wasted talent too, because you can't push. Even if you can clear the waves, good job, you cleared the wave. You can't apply anything.
You have no
structures.
you have no follow up to your wave clear,
Which is kind of awkward.
not
One of my
bad.
complaints about him for sure. It makes
which is
sense
good
because the
He-
walls
he
don't
needs
have
a
souls.
weakness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That
he
too.
needs a weakness, and his weakness is sieging.
Yeah.
he can clear the wave, but he can't do anything with the wave clear.
and if you say it helps with camps, you're wrong, because you can't. That just means you're being lazy, because you can easily keep your trade up on all members of the camp
Yeah,
if
you
you're just
swat
rotating
them.
around. Yeah. All right, let's get to level 20 here real quick. TBK, what are we going with?
This one is actually going to be Final Curtain, and this is really cool. Your Death Shroud will leave a trail in its wake for 4 seconds, applying Reaper's Mark to enemies in the area. And this is like the culmination of all the fun talents we've been going, because now not only do you have a Death Shroud to apply Reaper's Mark for 6 seconds, now and then you've got your Tormented Souls that will constantly apply your Reaper's Mark. And then you're getting armor from it, and then you're doing 100% increased damage after afflicting the enemy for more than 4 seconds. Now, there's a bunch of soul crap on the ground that is reapplying your trait as well in the
Whole
middle
bunch of
of a
soul
team
crap.
fight.
And it
Yep.
does reapply it a few times, right? Like, doesn't it,
It
kind of
does.
pulse with the reapplications?
Yep.
So, just another source of damage, a source of everything, really. Healing, whatever.
It just works really well. Of course, you may want to look at, depending on how the game's going, No One Can Stop Death is a very interesting talent. You activate while dead to immediately respawn at the altar, but increase your next respawn time by 25%. There are definitely situations where this can be incredibly strong. If you die early in a team fight for some reason, or if the game is close. I mean, it's level 20. You'll know if you need it by this point. If team members are getting one-off picked, or if you've been getting target focused and getting like picked off, it can be very strong. Also, just as a note, if the No One Can Stop Death timer cools down before you die again, you can use it again without the 25% penalty.
Mm-hmm.
The game's probably not going to last that long under most circumstances.
This
but
late, yeah.
I've had
But
some
there
long
you
games
are.
recently,
yeah,
and I've also
it's totally possible. That's why I wanted to throw it out there. You can actually bypass the 25% increased respawn time if you live long enough for it to be activatable again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. But Final Curtain is what I go with for almost any build. Honestly, it's just an incredible trait applicator.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a question in the chat from, it looks like Won't Ask Again, was asking, why would you get the trail here without, like, Final Curtain without using the throwing shade at 4? And true, yeah, you get a little more value with the extra range on that. But you just, if you haven't tried it yet, you just need to.
Uh-huh.
I promise, like, you'll like it so much you won't ask again.
there you go.
Won't ask again.
But yeah, it's so good because you throw it out and then in 4 seconds it's back again
Yeah, exactly.
because it's been on the ground for 4
Half
seconds.
the time.
So, you know,
Yeah, and it's all about keeping that trait on people for longer than 4 seconds.
yeah, you
So
don't
you
even
get
have
that
to
extra damage.
Yeah, you don't even have to do anything else after that trait's on them. Like, yeah, Q and stuff, that's your sustain. W keeps them in range, but the trait's just doing the damage it needs itself. So, yeah.
Once you pass that 4 second range and hit the Memento Mori time frame and that extra damage, like, they die very, very quickly.
Yes. It is a mess. It's death everywhere.
Too
all
much?
right.
Do they die too quickly? There's the question.
No.
And we'll find out when the balance pack comes out.
Yeah.
won't we?
We'll find out what they think. All right. So, last tips here, I guess, real quick. For mine, I already said that he's a good camper, Merc camper. He is. He's very good at it. Just make sure you're rotating around on your auto attacks to keep that trait applied. And then just give him a try for, if you tried him out one game, you didn't like him, give him a few more games. It takes a minute for his playstyle to click because, again, it just takes a minute to figure out that he's not somebody that sits back and pokes with his wave and then goes in to finish people off. Like, you just got to learn who you can get in there against, when to go in against, how long to go in against, and the answer to how long is until they die or you die. Pretty much. And it's a really unique play style, and I just find it interesting because there's so many. The differing opinion on this hero seems to be the most drastic that I've seen, to where I think they nailed the Fantasy and he feels amazing, and he feels like what I would think the death from Diablo would feel like. And then you have people like Multi, You just hated him, and I'm seeing some people in chat who didn't like him. But you know what, Malty? He's grown on you a little bit,
thing.
right?
Yeah, it's a playstyle.
He's
thing.
grown on me a little bit, and yeah, so I still have some playstyle issues with it. I will still stand behind my previous statements in that I don't personally think they landed the fantasy exactly, for kind of reasons that I had mentioned before, but also just in general, the encounter in Diablo 3 seemed like it had a little bit more going on than this. I've seen the complaint leveled in chat a few times, just that he's boring. And I mean, the kit by itself, and just the fact that, again, everything relies on your traits. The best way to apply that is with an 8-second cooldown slow line nuke that is wide. You get that going. It leads to some issues, and I could see some people who just aren't into this kind of new, unique playstyle, such as myself, sometimes finding like the early game laning phases, and sometimes your role within a group fight is sort of boring, at least compared to other heroes. I also feel like another complaint I have about him is that there are some characters that really just seem to counter him one way or the other. You cited the Butcher. We've been talking about some of the ranged characters that are good at kiting.
Nova.
I laned against a Falstad that followed me around every lane I went because he knew that he just had my number the entire time. One of those that just really knew how to land everything he was getting going on there. So just something to think about there. All of that said, though, you're right. I'm turning around on him a little bit, and you just have to put yourself in that other mindset. You're right. It's more about knowing the exact moment to go in, and really not a moment sooner unless you're totally committing. And I thought that your analogy to the Butcher TBK was perfect in that it's very similar. You don't just want to dash in just for the sake of dashing. But my tip really quick is about wave clear, as most of my tips lately have been. Like my Diva tip was wave clear. But so, okay, the trick is, of course, if you're just, this is no other factors at all, you're just wanting to clear a wave. Obviously, your Death Shroud you'll start with, and then it starts off that line nuke. And so if you can line it up to where the minions are actually walking out in a line, you can typically land all of them. But if you don't land all of them, feel free to get in there and just smack the one that you didn't hit, for instance. And then the trick about it is that, so Soul Rip's cooldown is 2 seconds, and your trait, at least at the beginning, before all the talents, is 4 seconds. So you really have to, like, get in there and get that first Q off real quick, or else you're not necessarily going to get the second one off before these marks drop off, unless you're, of course, dancing around, reapplying them with auto attacks and that sort of thing. Because you're waiting that 8 seconds on your Death Shroud, right? So it's just something you have to kind of manage and think about actively when you're laning, pushing lanes. But that's it. That's what I got. TBK.
Yep.
Cool.
Anything?
Initiate Death Shroud from bushes. Try
Oh, yeah.
and get good at initiating Death Shroud from bushes, because it makes it a lot harder for the person to dodge. It's probably one of the easiest ways for you to land it, just because it is a slower moving projectile. So bush initiations of Death Shroud can really help. Also, as far as counters go, anybody who can kite him range wise and can dodge his Death Shroud makes his life miserable. Also, interestingly enough, Murky absolutely destroys Malthael because his base health regen can actually out regen Malthael's trait.
Oh, yeah, because it's got such small numbers.
And
to deal with.
Malthael doesn't have a ton of damage out. Like, his auto attacks aren't super fast, and they don't do a ton of damage. Murky's got Bubble, you've got Slime to kind of slow him down, and you have infinite lives because you're Murky.
And you don't heal
so
much
Murky,
from him.
yeah, and you don't heal much from Murky. You can make Malthael's life a living hell if you are laning a Murky against him. So go Murky mains, have fun with all the Malthaels that are popping up everywhere.
And Nova's good against him too, right? I haven't had that yet
She
myself,
is.
But
I have enjoyed many a death Malthael killing sprees on my Nova play this past week.
I've been on the opposite end of that.
oh, yeah.
Not enjoyed.
There's nothing like killing death. I like
Nope, nothing like it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the build. Again, let us know what you guys think if you've tried that out. If there are other builds, I know some people were talking about the Massacre build, W build, and stuff like that. So let us know what you guys think after you check it out. TBK, what do you got for community content this week?
So this week, just a few things. I wanted to reminder as the new season of HGC start, Roster Apocalypse is back up and running, and this is basically your fantasy league site for all the HGC stuff. You basically can start a league, you join a league, you have a certain amount of points, whatever league you join. You can draft different players into your fantasy team, and then you try and get the most points, and then you can do swaps from week to week and stuff. Basically, you play fantasy baseball, fantasy football. It's the exact same type of thing, but HGC.
Yep.
So that's really cool. Go check that out. I also wanted to highlight Nikolia Polovsky and the fan art, because holy crap,
Is that
there's
Nikolai?
Nikolai,
Nikolai.
Pavlovsky.
See, this is why we shouldn't do names on this show.
We shouldn't read the names of skins either. I'm learning this for sure.
All right. This dude makes some really freaking awesome skins. He's got a Velen skin. Please, Blizzard. Let's just import that straight into the game. Give us that priest class.
It really does look like it would in the game.
Like, it looks so good. There's a Naga. There's Stukov, which I know a ton of people were wanting. Looks like an Abomination, Night Elf, or not a Night Elf, like a Blood Elf character of some sort. There's some really cool stuff in here. But I really like the Velen.
The Winter Mage.
Yeah, there's 3 Heroes of the Storm specifically: the Naga, Lady Vaj, the Velen, and the Stukov.
Mm-hmm.
So really
and
cool.
I mean, they really
Good
look
job.
like very basically in-game art for those, which is so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool stuff. And then finally, Creators of the Storm is a tournament that is between some content creators and podcasters going on this Saturday. I will be participating in it and streaming part of it. So if you are not doing anything Saturday afternoon, check it out. There'll be some fun, crazy games and some giveaways and stuff. Yeah, check it out Saturday afternoon. All the info is creatorsofthestorm.com. And yeah. I'm still looking at this Velen. Holy crap. It's just so good.
It's really cool.
I love
really
it.
Cool.
All right. Well, we have some emails here. We're going to get back on track before we're going to fall behind. We do have a short one, though, that we'll be able to knock out here real quick, because I just got an easy answer for it.
Sounds good.
Gotcha again, Multi. It's been a few weeks, but I snuck it in there.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I was anticipating it, but I thought I could squeeze in that sounds good before you actually hit the button. So that one's on me.
Yeah, so again, we did get a couple. Kadzin will have to get to yours here next week. I apologize, but thank you for writing in. Let's knock out this one from Captain Logan.
Okay, Captain Logan does write, with the change to loot boxes for Heroes 2.0, do you think this will change what the rewards are for BlizzCon this year, or for going, or for virtual ticket? So good question. Certainly they have more options now in Heroes 2.0, which is definitely nice. I don't know if necessarily we would just get flat amounts of loot boxes, because then that's kind of weird to me, just in the sense that it's almost like they've discounted the prices of the BlizzCon tickets. I still kind of see them doing something BlizzCon specific, but I think they do have a little bit more freedom to do so. I don't know, maybe there'd be like a BlizzCon only loot box that gives you a bunch of different stuff or chances at things. I don't know. What was your quick answer, Gizmo?
I mean, I think before we've gotten mounts, and we're either going to get another mount or a mount and a banner and a spray.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see all those.
I think those
maybe maybe an announcer or something really cool.
I mean, unless.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah,
That'd be the
that would be
perfect
cool.
time to throw in an HGC announcer pack or something. Blizzard, please.
Yep. That'd be really cool.
Give me a Chris Metzen
See,
announcer
now I
pack
want
now.
it.
I kind of want a
bad.
Mike Morheim announcer pack, personally. We're going to have a great year here at Blizzard Entertainment. That's what I want.
5, 4, 3, 2, One.
Hero of the Storm.
Let the battle begin.
Yeah.
Everyone love each other.
That'd be so calming.
It would be.
He's-
I
uh,
would
It would be,
turn that
it would
one
be
on.
just so mellow.
I
and
wouldn't want to
calming.
kill anyone. It'd be no. He's a good guy.
Like,
He
Uh,
is a good guy.
all right.
I just want my Kalaris. I want my Kalaris
Oh, yeah.
voice announcer pack, please, and thank you.
But yeah, I don't think they will give us anything where it's going to be like randomized items. They'll either just give us the items or it will be like a specific loot crate that contains these things. So, all right, that's gonna do it for this week's show. Remember, stick around here. We got some stuff for you. But before that, Multi, where can we be reached?
In game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which is sticky at the top of our Twitter at Lords of the Storm. We're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. So check us out there. Also, we have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. And if you want to email us with feedback or questions, that is Lords of the Storm at outlook.com. And again, we'll get to the one that we missed this time. So it's a really good question. I'm looking forward to it. He kind of called me out on some things, but we'll get there. So if you want to help out the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. We've got, of course, you could leave us reviews. Positive ones are certainly helpful to us, but really any sort of review to help us out, definitely appreciate that. iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. And then, of course, we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where if you just like what we do here and feel like you want to support the show in any way, no obligation, but we appreciate everyone who has so far and will in the future.
All right, and you can find us individually. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all the things at GizmoZord, where I am streaming quite a bit now, and as well as Convert to Raid Presents on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Our show's 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. But that is the World of Warcraft podcast featuring all things Blizzard. We had Thorn and Fist from Lagging Balls on last night. It was a really good show with the release of
I need to listen to that one.
7.2.5. So yeah, definitely check that out. Multi, where can you be found?
I feel like if I was going to keep up with this, though, I'd have to listen to like 20 different shows these days.
Yeah.
She's jumping all over the place, which is cool. That's good. She's a good podcaster. I'm on Twitter at Multizord. I'm also on occasionally another show called The Cavalry, known as at Twitter at The Cavalry Show. And that's about Overwatch. Lately, it's been typically Slambo and Tank on there, but I might hop back on, throw in my 2 cents about the moon.
And peanut butter on the moon. TBK.
Peanut butter on the moon.
How about you?
That's right. You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord, and that's the channel I will be streaming the Creators of the Storm tournament Saturday. Check it out.
Right. Well, we want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Sword, for helping support the show. We do appreciate it. As always, sir, stick around, guys. We got some post-show games. We got some stuff to give away. For catching us on the podcast, we'll see you same time, same place next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Enough. I shall do no more.
All right.